Here's a full tour and review of the Citroen BX. Now that's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Before I review the Citroen BX, I'd like to thank Global Auto Exchange here in Longwood, Florida for letting me review their inventory. The Citroen BX is a French compact car offered throughout the mid-80s all the way to the early 1990s. In the 20 years I've been alive, this is the weirdest and quirkiest car I've ever driven. Literally everything about this car is unconventional. First off, this particular BX is carbureted. How would I know that? Well, there's a choke switch right there. This 1.5 liter four-cylinder with a carburetor makes 75 to 80 horsepower, which, it's expected. 0 to 60 is maybe, and top speed is yes. If you think the BX is quirky on the outside, wait until you see the inside. You have a one-spoke steering wheel, weird futuristic style gauges. Side note, this thing only has 119,000 kilometers, which is something like 69,000 miles. You might be thinking, oh, this thing has power windows, pretty cool, right? Wrong. The mirrors are manually adjustable, which is, well, pretty normal from a car of this time period, but the entire mirror assembly moves instead of the little mirror glass, which I've never seen before. The dome light for the BX is mounted on the B pillar for whatever odd reason. If you think the BX gets normal for 1 second, you're wrong. You want to get out of the car? Door handle goes down. What's higher than the air conditioning controls in the radio? The cigarette lighter. My terrible attempt at a French accent, I'll stop. The Citroen BX routes all its mighty 80 horsepower through this 5-speed manual transmission. And this BX is pretty low equipped considering the fact it doesn't even have air conditioning. What do these three uneven looking cubbies have? The right one doesn't do anything. The left one is an ashtray, of course. And the middle one has a slot for your Romanian coins. The seat controls aren't even slightly conventional. This one does height, but so does this one. One thing I will say about the BX is it is extremely comfortable. These seats are just plushy and soft. And would you look at that? The original owner's manual appears to be in Russian. Now, moving on to the back seat of the BX, and it is okay for a car of this size. Now, what's more important than legroom in the back? Ashtray for your little French kids to smoke. Now, let's take the Citroen BX out for a little drive. Oh, you really thought I wasn't going to demonstrate the hydro-pneumatic suspension, which is fully adjustable, that lets you slam the car? Right now, the car is in its lowest ride height mode, and in order to put it in the highest one, you simply take this lever and flick it all the way. And I'll demonstrate that real quick. As you can see, real time, the suspension is raising itself up. It starts up at the back first and then moves on to the front. And look at that. After like 30 plus years, it still works perfectly. And look how tall the BX now is. You can traverse so many bad roads with this thing now. A Citroen fun fact from this time is the fact that if you put it in suspension its highest setting, you put like a block or like a jack or something underneath, you can actually lower it to the lowest setting and then you could change your tire. Now let's actually go out for a drive. Now, I never thought I'd say this, but driving around the Citroen BX, first off, in the handling department, it is extremely wafty and wally, but you know what that means? It's extremely smooth. This might be one of the best riding cars I've ever driven in my whole life, and I've driven Rolls Royces and Bentleys. The suspension is so smooth, and like, people always talk about the Citroen hydro-pneumatic suspension, how smooth it is, but you got to experience it for yourself because it is so smooth. It wafts over bumps like it's nothing. Funny enough, the first versions of the suspension, the Citroen 2CV, they advertised to farmers they could carry a basket of eggs without the eggs breaking. But what's it like driving a Citroen BX in the United States in 2022? Well, I gotta say, it feels weird seeing this dashboard and looking in front of me, and then there's a 2004 Ford F-150. All right, let's give the 80 horsepower run for its money. 60 kilometers an hour. Yeah, it's not fast in the slightest. It doesn't pretend to be fast, but with this car, why would you want to be in a rush for anything? You're driving around a Citroen. The clutch feels extremely vague, but it's an old French car. What do you want? And the shifter feels very linkagey and like metallic and linkagey. I don't know how best to describe it. Now, on a personal note, I love just driving around one of like my dream cars. My dream cars being just old Citroens in general in the United States. Like, I've dreamed of doing this for years, and this is so cool I get to do this now. Like, I am genuinely happy right now. Driving around this thing, I'm getting looks from a bunch of NPCs who probably have no idea what this boxy contraption driving around is. What's my final opinion on the Citroen BX? I love it. This thing lives up to like the way I dreamed it would be. And honestly, I would not mind having one of these things in the future. Thank you guys, and thank you Global Auto Exchange in Longwood, Florida for letting me review this car. Have a good day.